So it's beginning to look more and more like Jack Smith's case against Donald Trump in D.C. with the election interference and the January 6th case is going to get thrown out due to presidential immunity. Should this even be a thing? Let me know in the comments. Should the president really be immune from stuff like that? Like, I know they are in charge of conducting, like, drone strikes, and, like, Obama with his extrajudicial assassinations of American citizens. Look that up if you don't know about it. That's some insane story right there. Abdul Alaman Alulaki, I think is how that name is pronounced. I'm sorry if I screwed that up, but, leave a comment. Let me know if, Trump, Biden, Obama, should they be immune from prosecutions? That's a tough question. I'm on the fence on that one. I'm not sure at all. Currently what we're looking at, though, with President Trump at least, is most of these cases are absolute BS. The January 6th trial there's a good argument in that for double jeopardy. He was already impeached and acquitted of those same charges, that exact same situation. So should Jack Smith actually be able to go after him over that? He was acquitted of that. In other words, not guilty. But Nikki Haley appears to be gaining on Trump in New Hampshire. How the hell is that? Let me know in the comments how the hell you can get behind Nikki Haley. What? I don't get that one at all, folks. And guess what? Joe Biden is sending Alejandro Mayorkas and Anthony Blinken and somebody else, I don't care who it is, to the U.S. southern border because of the crisis. To me, when I saw that story, I'm like, that's like having a busted pipe in your house, a water pipe at that, a main inline, and just letting it leak for a while, having it damage all kinds of drywall, and then sitting back and look at it and saying, I'm going to call somebody over here to come look at this. What can we do about this? I don't know. How about fix the damn leak? It's just crazy, folks. These people are absolutely morons. Absolute morons in the Biden administration. And I just can't help but saying that. I've always tried to be fair when it comes to both sides. Back in the day, I used to be kind of a pro-choice. It was just, I got tied up into the how can you tell somebody what to do with their own body, type of thing, But when you really sit back and look at it and you put it through the logic test, it doesn't pass because you're still killing a human. But what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This here is Legitical Response. We take political news, try to keep the people informed. We go through these stories and we put them through the logic test to see exactly what's going on in the government, what these people are doing, and why are they doing it. We analyze it, and we put it out there for everybody to see. So if you're interested in keeping up to date with the latest political news, what's going on in the government, smash that subscribe button for me and turn on your notifications. And if you also could, smash that like button for me, because who doesn't like keeping up with the government? Right? Yeah, nobody likes actually keeping up with the government. But, in my view, it is nice to be informed, and I think we should all be at least a little bit informed about what the government is doing, because they essentially control our lives, in a manner of speaking. So it's good to be informed. But what's up, y'all? Merry Christmas, everybody. Yep, it's Christmas Eve. Santa is getting geared up to do his thing. He is not going to be very happy when he gets to Louisiana, because it is nasty outside, folks. It is raining. It's not cold, but it's not going to be very nice for good old Santa Claus. Enough of my ranting and raving about. Let's get into some news, folks. As you can imagine, it's rather a slow news day, but right before the Senate let out, we had a couple of things come up, so we're going to talk about it. Let's check this out, y'all. As conflicts rage abroad, a fractured Congress tries to rally support for historic global challenges. What in the hell are they even talking about? I had to read this story. I read the first few lines, and I'm like, yeah, let's go ahead and cover that. So, Check this out, y'all. As the Senate wrapped up its work for the year, Senator Michael Bennet took to the floor of nearly empty chamber and made a late-night plea for Congress to redouble support for Ukraine. Here we go, right? Understand the stakes at the moment. It was the third time in recent months the Colorado Democrat has kept the Senate working late by holding up unrelated legislation in a bid to cudgel lawmakers to approve tens of billions of dollars in weaponry and economic aid for Ukraine. During a nearly hour-long emotional speech, he called on senators to see the nearly two-year-old conflict as a defining clash of authoritarianism against democracy, and implored them to consider what it means to be fighting on that freezing front line and not knowing whether we're going to come through with the ammunition. At this point, I do not care anymore. Okay? When this war first started, I was screaming mad like, how in the hell can Putin do this? I was pissed off just like everybody else, just like probably you were. As the months drug on and we start sending billions and billions of dollars over there, I start looking into Ukraine a little bit and seeing exactly how corrupt this regime is over there, right? And I'm like, man, should we really be helping these people? You know, whatever. Keep going. Then we learned our billions and billions of taxpayer dollars are now going to fund nurses, firefighters, police officers as paying their damn salaries. Why are we doing this? I don't know. Let's keep going. So more months go by, and now we come to find out they're selling our damn munitions that we're sending over there on the black market. Stuff starts showing up, right? There's generals and other people are stealing the money to use for themselves. The wife of the president, Zelensky, going on shopping sprees. Where's this money coming from? Right? They're needing all this money. They're coming over here and begging for our money and then using it on shopping sprees and to pay the salaries of other people. What are we doing here, folks? Meanwhile, the Biden administration is ignoring the problems in the United States. That doesn't sit well with me. That doesn't sit well with me at all. So now I'm totally against sending any more money to Ukraine. Oh yeah, and don't mention that they pretty much sacked any kind of diplomatic solution, any kind of diplomatic resolution to this conflict. Putin is open for negotiations, right? But they don't care about that. They just want to send more money over there to beat Putin back. Putin's not going nowhere. Look at the situation on the ground, and it is not a very good situation for Ukraine. I would be a lot more willing to get behind Ukraine if they didn't oppose political parties, if they didn't ban political parties, if they didn't ban the Orthodox Church, if they didn't arrest their political opponents, if they didn't have so much corruption going on over there. I wouldn't have much of a problem at all. You'd probably still hear me gripe about it. Should we be sending that much money over there? No, we shouldn't. $113 billion sent by just the United States. Close to $200 billion in total. $200 billion to fund a war that has had no results. You haven't been able to kick Putin out. You're probably not going to be able to kick Putin out. If they wanted to get Putin out of there, they should have done it back in 2014 when the Russian troops came out of their base in Crimea and said, "Oh, this is ours now." They should have done something about it then. But no, they let Putin take a foothold in Crimea. Now, Putin wants his land bridge to Crimea, and he's got his land bridge to Crimea. What are we going to do about that? They should have sanctioned the crap out of him then and kept those sanctions in place instead of letting Putin just do his damn thing. Now we're having to pay the price for that mistake. And I don't like it one bit. And I know most Americans, once they realize what's really going on over there, they don't like it either. But let's keep going, y'all. Yet Congress broke for the holidays and is not expected to return for 2 weeks while continued aid for Ukraine has nearly been exhausted. The Biden administration is planning to send one more aid package before the new year, but says it will be the last unless Congress approves more money. With the support slipping in Congress even as conflicts and unrest rattle global security, the United States is once again struggling to assert its role in the world. We are not the world police. That is not our job to police the world, okay? I do not mind sending ambassadors to some place to negotiate peace. Please do that. Hire more ambassadors if you need to. But we do not need to be sending military assets to foreign countries to get them to stop fighting. We do not need to be sending military assets to another country in Europe to help them fight their war. If you want to help these people, send humanitarian aid and negotiators to negotiate peace. You don't send them bullets and tank ammunition. I'm sorry. That is not how we go about bringing peace to a conflict. By fueling the fire. You don't go to a house fire and start throwing cans of WD-40 at it. You don't go to a house fire and just sit there and just look at it, watch it burn to the damn ground. You get proactive. You call the fire department and they send a big ass truck with hundreds of gallons of water to put the fire out. You don't throw wood onto a fire, in other words. These people are making no sense. And I get people in my comment section talking about, oh, we need to aid Ukraine and all this and other stuff. And I'm like, no. Don't throw gas on a fire. That's not how you resolve these conflicts. Under the influence of Donald Trump, the former president who is now the Republican Party frontrunner, GOP lawmakers have increasingly taken a skeptical stance toward U.S. involvement abroad, particularly when it comes to aid to Ukraine. This has nothing to do with Trump. This is once again the mainstream narrative machine trying to say, oh, look, Trump is behind this. Trump doesn't want to. No, it's common sense. It's logically thinking through these things and realizing that just sending more bullets is not going to resolve the conflict. Sending more tank ammunition is not going to stop Putin from taking his land bridge. There has to be another resolution to this. Just continuing to fuel the fire is not going to fix the problem. And the media is trying to blame Trump. They're trying to say, oh, Trump is bad. Leaders of traditional allies, Britain and France, have implored Western nations to continue their robust support. Russia's President Vladimir Putin is emboldened and building up resources for a fresh effort as the war heads towards its third year. Ukraine's lifelines to the West are also imperiled in the European Union, which sent 1.5 billion euros each month to ensure macroeconomic stability, pay wages and pensions, keep hospitals and schools running, provide shelter for displaced people, and rebuild infrastructure destroyed in the war. Yeah, exactly what I was talking about. Paying these people's salaries. Why are we doing this? Why are we not trying to stop the war? That package has now expired, and the EU's executive branch failed to produce another one for the new year when Hungary vetoed a 50 billion euro package this month. Bolstering Ukraine's defense used to be celebrated in the U.S. Capitol as one of the few remaining bipartisan causes, but now the fate of roughly $61 billion in funding is tied to delicate policy negotiations on Capitol Hill over border and immigration changes. And in the last year, lawmakers have had to mount painstaking round-the-clock efforts to pass even legislation that maintains basic functions of the U.S. government. That's right. Bills with ambitious changes have been almost completely out of reach for the closely divided Congress. That is because we have a very broken system in Washington, okay? These people have twisted and turned our system to where it does no longer work. People attach these pet projects and other pork funding for their own district to these bills and just raises our deficits higher and higher and higher, which causes the government to have to print more money. It's all a snowball effect that has caused insane inflation, insane prices at the grocery store, unstable economic fears from everybody. Lumping a whole bunch of supplemental packages together is not the way you govern a country like ours. You separate all this stuff, individual spending packages. You vote on it, yes, no, whatever. Still, congressional leaders are trying to rally members to address global challenges they say are among the most difficult in decades. The largest land invasion of a European nation since World War II, a war between Israel and Hamas, unrest and economic calamity dividing historic levels of migration, and China asserting itself as a superpower. In the Senate, both Democratic and Republican leaders have cast the $110 billion aid package. I thought it was $106 billion. Which is attempting to address all those issues as a potential turning point for democracy around the world. Right. Yes, democracy around the world will fail if we don't pass this $110 billion package that sends $61 billion to Ukraine, to a corrupt money pit. These people are freaking ridiculous. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer told reporters last week that history will look back if we don't support our ally in Ukraine and say, yes, they made a very smart move by not supporting Ukraine. We're living in a time when there are all kinds of forces that are tearing at democracy, at here and abroad, Bennett said. In a year-end speech, Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell said, from South Texas to Southeast Asia and from the Black Sea to the Red Sea, it is an historically challenging and consequential time to protect America's interests, our allies, and our own people. The Republican leader, a key supporter of Ukraine aid, has tried for months to build support in his party for Ukraine. But after a $6 billion military and civilian aid package for Ukraine collapsed in October, McConnell began telling White House officials that any funding would need to be paired with border policy changes. The White House deliberately stayed out of negotiations until senior officers felt the time was right to do so. But senior Republicans involved in the border talks believe the administration stepped in too late, ultimately delaying the prospects of additional Ukraine aid getting approved until the new year. See, they're doing this whole border crap. This is just to try to, it's a dog whistle. They're trying to say, oh, come on, Republicans, give us our Ukraine money and we'll give you some border security. Right? Because the border is a freaking disaster. I'm not trying to get on some side rant or some crap, but it pisses me off when they do stuff like this because they're neglecting their job on the southern border. They're lifting the damn fence, letting migrants come in illegally, and then saying, we have a crisis, we need to do something about this. All the laws are in place. All the funding bills, the funding laws, everything is in place to secure that southern border. There is a law with the definition of operational control of the southern border. That means nobody or nothing crosses that southern border illegally. That is a law. And they are neglecting that, allowing these migrants to come in, and then saying, we need to do something about it. Vote for this Ukraine aid. That makes me very mad. And I've had enough of this damn story pissing me off. But you guys in the comment section, let me know, is my logic off here? I mean, is my thinking wrong somehow? Let me know down in the comments. And that's all I got for this one. I want to thank everybody for watching and remind everybody, like I said, if you're new around here, smash that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the like for me if you don't mind. And I want everybody to have a very, very Merry Christmas. And be positive. Peace.